On June 7, 1998, Byrd, age 49, accepted a ride from Sean Berry, age 24, Lawrence Russell Brewer, age 31, and John King, age 23. Berry, who was driving, was acquainted with Byrd from around town. Instead of taking Byrd home, the three men took Byrd to a remote county road out of town, beat him severely, urinated on him and chained him by his ankles to their pickup truck before dragging him for approximately 1.5 miles. Brewer later claimed that Byrd's throat had been slashed by Berry before he was dragged. However, forensic evidence suggests that Byrd had been attempting to keep his head up while being dragged, and an autopsy suggested that Byrd was alive during much of the dragging. Byrd died after his right arm and head were severed when his body hit a culvert. Byrd's brain and skull were found intact, further suggesting he maintained consciousness while being dragged. Berry, Brewer and King dumped the mutilated remains of the body in front of an African American church on Huff Creek Road, then drove off to a barbecue. Along the area where Byrd was dragged, police found a wrench with Berry written on it. They also found a lighter that was inscribed with Possum, which was King's prison nickname. The following morning, Byrd's limbs were found scattered across a seldom-used road. The police found 81 places that were littered with Byrd's remains. State law enforcement officials, along with Jasper's district attorney, determined that since Brewer and King were well-known white supremacists, the murder was a hate crime. They decided to call upon the Federal Bureau of Investigation less than 24 hours after the discovery of Byrd's remains. King had several racist tattoos, a black man hanging from a tree, Nazi symbols, the words Aryan Pride, and the patch for a gang of white supremacist inmates known as the Confederate Knights of America. In a jailhouse letter to Brewer that was intercepted by jail officials, King expressed pride in the crime and said that he realized while committing the murder that he might have to die. Regardless of the outcome of this, we have made history. Death before dishonor. Sieg Heil. King wrote. An officer investigating the case also testified that witnesses said that King had referenced the Turner diaries after beating Byrd. Berry, Brewer and King were tried and convicted for Byrd's murder. Brewer and King received the death penalty, while Berry was sentenced to life in prison. Brewer was executed by lethal injection on September 21, 2011, while King remains on Texas death row.